Hey, do we have these? I want to add one more thing about Stephen A. Smith. Do we have? I thought I saw a text that we got these clips of Stephen A. Smith on with Patrick Bet-David. The clips are made, and I trimmed down the third down a bit. The second one, no, we're not going to play an 8-minute clip. Don't do that. But he's on with Patrick Bet-David, and he's talking about running as a Republican, as I have predicted. Patrick Bet-David, I think, throws it out there. Stephen A. Smith talks about, well, I couldn't win as a Republican. But let's play this first clip, see what it's about. We'll unpack this in real time.
100% that in 2028, if you run, you will run as a Democrat.
The only reason I say that is because I don't think that I'd have a snowball's chance in hell of running as a Republican. I think J.D. Vance, the Marco Rubios of the world, even the Ron DeSantis's of the world have that on lock, number one. Number two, the party is not as in disarray as the Democratic Party. Number three, even though I'm a centrist and I'm a registered independent who would not hesitate, by the way, to vote, I would have voted for Nikki Haley. If Ron DeSantis hadn't pissed me off with the whole slavery, there's good parts about slavery comment, I might have voted for him. That was my issue with him. Trump, obviously, it's his behavior more so than anything else. But I had no problem with Nikki Haley. I'm friends with Governor Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey. He and I talk all the time. I've known it. So I look at that, and their party is not as much in disarray. In my perfect world, to answer your question, if a third party had a chance of winning an election, that would be the way that I go, because I don't like leaning far right or left, and I think both sides pull you dramatically in their direction.
Okay, so
That's fascinating. Now he's just thrown in a new angle here, in my opinion, running as a third candidate. And so maybe his play is, and their play is, if we can get him out there as a centrist and pull enough men away from the Republican Party, it may open a door for the Democrats. I wasn't expecting to hear that part of it, but he kept calling Nikki Haley Nikki Healy for some reason. And this whole, I don't know what to make of this Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis, there was a teaching that was implemented in the Florida curriculum on slavery. And one of the things they said was, and it was actually this simple, but you have to be really stupid to misunderstand this, so Stephen's your guy. They said, hey, look, during slavery, these slaves earned a lot of skills that when they were freed, they took those skills and were able to utilize them to make a living. And so they said, you just said blacks benefited from slavery. That is what happened.
Let me be crystal clear. Put me on camera by myself. I don't want to associate anybody else with this comment. Black people in America benefited from slavery. That's factual. If it weren't true, all the black people whining and complaining about being here in America would leave America because there would have been no benefits. But because there have been great benefits, black people are still here. I said it. It's the truth. Everyone knows it's the truth. That's why Muhammad Ali said, thank God my great-great-granddaddy got on that boat. That's how black people really feel when they're not cosplaying. Thank God I'm here with central air conditioning and ice in my refrigerator. I said it. All right, Steve, now that I've removed you all from the taint of me telling the truth here, what's Stephen A. Smith doing here throwing out? I've been telling y'all he wants to run as a Republican, and now Patrick Bet-David's asking him.
He's vacillating and flip-flopping like he always does. So he says all of that, but let's just go back, 7 to 10, 12 months ago. He was literally saying, I am voting for Kamala Harris. So that's going to be the guy that possibility is going to run as a conservative and or Republican. And then he's going to vote. He said he would have voted for Nikki Haley. My God.
Healy.
We are not serious people. And he cannot be a serious candidate. He may not be that smart, but if we vote for him, we truly have become a stupid country.
I want to hear some more from Stephen A. Smith and Patrick Bet-David. Play the next clip.
Best to you that I was really, really hoping you didn't go there because I didn't want to answer this question because I know what I'm going to say. But I'm going to say it because you're my man. Here's the deal. None of those candidates are me. Now, I have no desire. I just told y'all I just signed with SiriusXM. I got ESPN. I make some good money. I'm living a good life.
He's a rich man.
The last time you were here, you didn't have that smile before.
I'm living. Man, I've been
well
negotiating for a
deserved.
year.
Well deserved.
You're living in the best
Well
city in the
deserved.
world, Miami.
No, let's be honest.
You're living in Miami now.
The greatest ever in the game.
Diverting away, I can't thank you enough. We talked about it. He's one of the people that I confided in a lot during my negotiations, just in terms of his business acumen, his temperament, his mentality towards, one step after another. There were very, very few people that I communicated with, and Patrick Bet-David was one of them. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. I will tell you, the life that I'm living is good, but when you talk about those candidates, getting back to that discussion, none of them are me. Bernie Sanders, God bless him. I understand who he is, but he's also a socialist, essentially. That'll never work in America. Never. Number one. Number 2, 3, and 4. They can talk all they want to. They don't have my voice. What I mean by that is I'm not talking about you being well known. I'm not talking about you campaigning. I'm talking about what you do every day for a living. See, they gonna come to you when they're campaigning. I'm around, period. This is what I do.
The arrogance is mind-boggling, and I would have to speculate on the other Democrats he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about Kamala Harris. Maybe he's talking about Tim Walz,
Elizabeth Warren.
Maybe.
They are in disarray. Pete Buttigieg, they have no bench. Hakeem Jeffries is their Speaker of the House right now, and he's
yes.
There is no bench. There's nobody on the Democrats. He is right about that. They're like, hey, it would be a serious battle. And here's what he's really, really saying, just to be honest with you. Everybody. Guys, please don't make me get in a debate with J.D. Vance. I do not want anything to do with J.D. Vance in a debate, who would absolutely murder Stephen A. Smith. And everybody knows. By the way, he'd murdered me. He'd murdered virtually everybody. J.D. Vance is a different kind of wizard in these debates. And so he doesn't really want that going through. At least if he's going to get beat up in a debate, he'd like to do it as the Democratic nominee, and he could be like, guys, come on, he's mean, vote for me. But the reality is, he thinks he's Ross Perot, at least. If he thinks he can run as an independent, he thinks he can outdo what RFK just did. And RFK comes from a political dynasty and was polling at less than 5% of the vote. So what does he think he's going to do? He thinks because he can talk and say nonsense, and again, does not even know how to speak politics. And I don't think he's smart enough to figure it out before it's time to actually start campaigning. What does he think he's going to do here? He thinks because he has a microphone, people are going to vote for him, and he thinks this is going to work on the Republican side? Because again, if he's trying to pull people from one side or the other, it's a whole lot easier to say, hey, black people vote for me, instead of, hey, Republicans vote for me.
Steve, you got something here? I want to read his top 5.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
TJ, don't worry about the Democrats. They got that woman, Olivia Giulianis. She's going to bring back the mail vote. What's her name? MC Not Like? Yeah, so they're good there. But
Yes.
To your point about J.D. Vance, who's an absolute pistol, a J.D. Vance, Stephen A. Smith debate, I'm kind of debating myself. Would it be a quick kill like Mike Tyson, Michael Spinks, which I think went all of 91 seconds, or would it be a prolonged beatdown like Larry Holmes against Randall Tex Cobb? Because, TJ, I couldn't agree with you more. That would be an absolute intellectual mismatch with those two on the stage. I would actually pay good money to see it.
I could see it being more like Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali had a big mouth like Stephen A., and Larry Holmes just kind of carried him out of sympathy and was actually begging the refs, come in, stop the fight, stop the fight. Here's Stephen A. Smith's top 5 priorities as a presidential candidate, and I think when J.D. Vance heard these, he said, man, this is all MAGA stuff. But the economy, border immigration, safety, basically he's talking about law and order, national security, and foreign affairs. Says he's a nationalist first, but however has globalist leanings too. You can't have them both.
Jason.
I'm fat, but I'm skinny as well. Anyway, go ahead.
Jason, first of all, those are all America First policies, by the way, which were shouted from the rooftops, and I don't mean the Korean ones, by Donald Trump. Yeah, after all of this, and these are his 5 agendas that are at the top of the list, right? I'm going to go back to this. But he said his vote was for Kamala Harris. What does this guy stand for? He's a mile wide and an inch deep. Good grief.
Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.